It looks like in the age of Ozempic, the previous mores of body positivity in Hollywood are beyond dead. And it's interesting to watch all of these people who used to say that, you know, every body type, every size is beautiful. They have exposed themselves for not only being vain, but also being lazy. I do think that Ozempic is the easy way out. It's a magic pill. And it's going to be revealed in the years to come that the side effects are more serious than I think people are taking it. I've heard about stomach paralysis. I've heard about people going blind, limbs falling off. I've heard some really terrible, like, horror story situations about what happens to you if you're on this drug. And also celebrities who have taken it and had terrible results, like Sharon Osbourne. Like, literally looks like she's on death's door.
That's the first example that comes to mind for me.
And some others that still refuse to say out loud that they are taking it, who also look like they are death. Like, I mean, I think that, you know, I would be more proud of losing weight by suffering, but that's just my personality type.
The thing is, though, okay, so if you're an everyday person who's not in front of the camera, that makes way more sense, right? So if you lose weight on your own, the work that you put into losing the weight helps feed your self-image. Because you're doing the work, you're getting in shape, and that's a byproduct.
No pun intended.
And that's just a byproduct of feeling better as looking better. But the thing is if you're in front of the camera, the shortcut works because you're getting all of the validation you want from your job. Because you're in front of the camera, people are already kissing your ass to begin with. So I don't think they think about the how as important as the end result.
Page Six did an interview with a psychology professor about the effects of Ozempic, she said,
do you know why, like how long has this medication, I saw somebody in the chat mention this, and I do want to bring it up, like how long have diabetics been taking the medication without issues? Like, is there something in somebody who actually has diabetes taking it that makes it more safe, do you think?
Well, yes, because they're already insulin resistant.
Yeah,
that's a problem. That it's dangerous when you're a perfectly healthy person with a normal digestive system and you just basically turn it off like a switch. It's like the birth control for food, basically. Right?
Control.
Yeah, I mean, you want consequence-free pigging out.
Yeah.
Just like you want to nut inside without consequences. Like, this is the equivalent of like blowing your load on buying a bunch of food and eating it consequence-free. I mean, I think that it's ironic to hear people talking about how this is unsustainable as a solution for weight loss when you know, you can look at their own personal history and see that they've done the yo-yo diet thing as well. It's a mindset shift. You have to actually want it. But, you know, I find it ironic, for instance, that Jillian Michaels, who was on Biggest Loser, is talking about Ozempic being a terrible solution for weight loss because it's unsustainable. Literally, everyone knows that the contestants on Biggest Loser all ended up gaining the weight back because they were put into a weight loss boot camp to humiliate themselves and lose the weight in the span of like 2 weeks. But she has spoken out somewhat recently saying, if you're morbidly obese, if you tried everything generally, there will also be a deep psychological component, a physiological addiction if you have any other elements of your health that have failed you. In this cost-benefit analysis, you will absolutely twist my arm. She says that GLP-1 medications are not sustainable and they have side effects that won't outrun over time. I think you can also get resistant to the drug over time and have to up your dosage as you go. And that's a slow process, but still you can't really run out the clock here. Eventually you're going to have to get off of the drug. and take responsibility for yourself. You can't be on it for life.
There's a 20.
From scaphism? I don't know if I said that right. Ozempic flatlined my wife. She used it for diabetes. It paralyzed her stomach, thinned her blood, severely dehydrated her. In the emergency room, she sat up, vomited blood, and died. They saved her, and she's now off that shit.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That is crazy.
Is that... I mean, I hope that you're not just, like, making that up or as, like, a joke. If that's serious.
Glad she's doing better.
I've never heard a story that scary about Ozempic before.
And
I'm glad she's okay.
The thing about the medication is it's what it's proving is that nothing that Hollywood said before was real. When they were telling you the message about loving yourself and beautiful at any size, what they actually meant was beautiful at any size I can get to without putting in the work to change it, because there's a lot less money to be made in telling, like, unless your industry is the diet industry or your industry is the self-help industry. For Hollywood, the marketing tool is to tell people you're beautiful just the way you are. Buy these clothes that I make that are perfect for you.
That's what the psychologist in this interview was saying. She said, it's not hard to realize that celebrities like Mindy Kaling, who were very proudly body positive and not especially petite, are slimmed down. We're getting a lot less messaging about self-acceptance and the fact that people just naturally come in different body sizes and shapes. A person's desire to be thin is nothing new, but society made great strides in overcoming unhealthy beauty standards in recent years until Ozempic came along. I think there was real progress toward body positivity. As people came to understand restricting what you ate and different fad diets were not going to be effective long term, people appreciated that self-acceptance was a much more reasonable and healthy option in terms of physical and psychological health.
Here is the thing. That the ends of both of those spectrums are not the ones you're supposed to be shooting for. You're not supposed to shoot for either inject myself with drug and paralyze my stomach, or do whatever I want and however I look is however I look.
Right.
There's a middle ground there. It's called paying attention to what you look like, caring enough to pay attention to what you eat, getting some exercise so that you feel better, all of which is a very, very hard sell to people. Look, in a world now where people are very busy, they're working, they're off with their family. I get it. It's not an easy thing to sell to people, but at the same time, there is some truth to the way that a lot of the influencers talk about health. It is like one thing that I enjoy, no matter what you say about any of it, is that the people that I know that are very, very staunch about working out, about watching what they eat, they don't accept excuses and they take responsibility for their own health and well-being. And that is a very, very hard message to sell people because people inherently reject it. They don't want the responsibility. They want it to be somebody else's fault, and they want it to be somebody else's responsibility that they look the way they look, whether it's because they have a condition, or food, or healthy food is too expensive. That's the other one.
They call it, I have a psychological disorder called food noise.
Yeah, or I guess it's...
That's the most ridiculous language that's come out of this whole discourse is food noise.
It's just a very... And I get it. Look, I get it. It's not easy, but it is what it is. You have to take responsibility for your own actions.
From Zach Hates YouTube. Damn, Oprah looking fine. Anyway, I tried the nacho fries at Taco Bell and they're great. Also, the mild avocado hot sauce is great. Give it a try, Mary. Lastly, my favorite is the cheesy gordita crunch with the Dorito shell. I love how we're sitting here talking about self-discipline and I'm like, I'm totally gonna eat nachos after this.
Drunken fries at the movies.
It's about moderation, okay? I think that, aside from Ozempic being the next replacement for a diet fad, most of what I've seen lately is, and I've also been getting like algorithmically pushed this type of content. It's about, all of these right-wing diet fads.
Carnivore.
Keto. I mean, not so much keto anymore, but carnivore, animal-based diets, raw milk, uncooked, like raw meat, and you know, all of these other things involved in it, like putting beef tallow on your face and doing red light therapy.
I saw we were
blah,
at the
blah,
grocery
blah.
store. Me and Olivia were at the grocery store yesterday, and it was like beef tallow was like $14. I'm like, I'll just die young.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll just die young.
now that's turned into the next fad.
Look.
When it was in the 2010s, it was veganism. In the 2020s, it's carnivorous diets. And I'm just thinking, like, can we just be normal? You know,
Look,
like that would be great.
Let me sympathize with you a little bit. Like, look, I would love to lose about 10 to 15 pounds. For me, I was in the best shape of my life when I was skating every day, but it had nothing to do with the skating itself, because skating, when you do like tricks and stuff, is it's low cardio, meaning you skate up to the obstacle, you jump, you land. Now, it gets cardio heavy if a trick takes a long period of time, but in general, it's low intensive cardio, and mostly it's about working muscles just from your legs and movement. But I was walking to get everywhere because I lived in a walkable city, but in general, I was just poor. Fine, whatever. So walked everywhere to get everywhere that I went, which allowed me to eat like a pig and eat whatever I wanted because I got so much exercise that I could be unhealthy in one aspect of my life, because the other aspect of my life was so healthy that in my mid-30s, I was skating better and in better shape than I was in my 20s. And the reason for that is I was getting a lot of cardio each and every day. That is very hard to do if it is not built into how you have to live your life. So it's one thing if you are walking to get to work, walking to go get groceries, walking to go skate, walking to go do all this other stuff. That's great. Now, if you have a car, you don't go do that unless you have to.
Yeah, there are almost no areas in this entire country where that is realistic for people to do.
So for me now, I even noticed it early on where I was like, why am I so much more like stiff when I start skating? Oh, it's because you didn't walk a mile to get there. Like, and the thing is that was built in out of struggle for me. I get it. Like, most people aren't going to choose the harder option. I'm certainly not doing that right now. I could. Like, there was a point in time where I was like, when we were still at the castle, where I was like, look, because where I live, I'm about a 15-minute walk from the castle. So theoretically, I could have walked to work, showered at the office, and then gone about my day. But let's be real. Unless that was the only option, that wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen.
I see. We have another 20 from Zach Hates YouTube. Somehow PCC became my favorite podcast.
Let's go!
Rogan is great, and so is IRL, but you guys bring really good vibes and cheer me up anytime I click on the show, no matter the subject matter. Thanks again for keeping us all company. That is that was very sweet of you to say. Thank you for liking our show, even though you hate YouTube. It means a lot.
Ethan Miller says, be poor to lose weight. Bort. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But the thing is people have an excuse for everything. Then they say, like, the only reason I can't lose weight is because poor people have to eat unhealthy food, right? You will make an excuse at every level. At a certain point, nobody's going to care. They're going to say, it's your responsibility. Figure it out. You're an adult.
Another part of this that's so funny to me is how much our standards for, someone who's the picture of health have fallen. Yeah. Like, now you look at the results post Ozempic on a lot of these celebrities who used to be plus size, and they get down to, like, not trying to be rude or anything, but they get down to, like, sometimes still overweight, sometimes just barely on the cusp of still being overweight. Yeah. And this is someone who would have been called a land whale in a tabloid magazine back in 2004. So, we're not exactly shooting for the stars here. Like, we're not back to, I guess they would call it heroin chic beauty standards. Nobody's glamorizing eating disorders.
I never understood that.
I'm not seeing that.
Chic. It shouldn't be heroin chic.
I mean, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like, they're basically, Mindy Kaling now, post Ozempic weight loss, is the same size that Jessica Simpson was pre-Ozempic weight loss. Yeah. And she was bullied for, like, basically being a size 4 in the 2000s. which maybe you could say was to the far other extreme, and that needed to be, that kind of sentiment needed to be tempered. But, you know, maybe that's not true. Like, maybe it's okay that, you know, all of these celebrities were getting picked apart in the media for having muffin tops. Like, that's something I see comes with the territory of what they do.
When it comes to Hollywood, it's okay for the men to be unassuming and average looking. It is not okay for the women to be. It is now, but it wasn't back then, unless you were playing Meemaw or a grandma, you know. Like, the amount of times when I watch, and I'm not attempting to be mean to anyone in particular, but like when I watch TV now, I'm like, these people just look so normal. Not fat. I'm saying,
or
like,
commercials,
they look
whatever.
normal. No, not commercials. Commercials that actually benefits you. You're supposed to look normal in commercials. You're not supposed to, like, you're supposed to be representative. If you're marketing for like Dawn dish soap, I don't expect a supermodel to be doing the dishes, okay? But if I'm watching TV, like, okay, so I'm watching Reacher season 3, and the lady that plays Duffy is the most average, normal-looking person that you've ever seen. Well, in season 2, it was Dixon, which was played by Serinda Swan, who was an exceptionally, you know, conventionally attractive woman. And she's probably my age or a little bit older now. But, like, the point is like in 2011 or whatever, she was a very, very above-average, attractive level woman on television, and that was the norm.
Right.
Now, you just expect them all to look like average, everyday people.
Whatever happened to CW beauty standards?
That's 110% true. Like, if I'm turning on the CW, absolutely nobody should look like a normal person. I should look like I just walked into a supermodel convention.
Right.
Like, it should look like I just walked into a supermodel convention. And that's what I always laugh is, like, people didn't realize that Stephen Amell was as good of an actor as he was, because he's like James Spader when he was younger. Was the joke, was like, James Spader didn't get recognition until he went bald. Like, you know, like, sometimes they're like, you forget that some of these people can actually act.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the popularity of Ozempic, though. Like, at once, you know, that's nice that some people are finally able to look the way they wanted to look.
Yeah.
However, I just feel like they should have suffered.
They should have just dealt with it.
No, I think that they should have suffered in order to look better. That's how I feel. Is that messed up?
No, I mean,
I just feel like they should have suffered.
Maybe a tiny bit.
And that would have been better for them too.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, like, speaking in their interest.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like, maybe things will be better down the line, and we'll know more in like 10 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from the sound of that super chat earlier, this could be a seriously dangerous drug for people to take. So,
all right.
Again, glad that your wife survived that.
That was
sounds
crazy.
Terrifying.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.